Happy Christmas and happy Boxing Day from Hong Kong. I'm Kath.
Happy Boxing Day from London. I'm Adrian. Good morning to you. It's 9:30 in the morning here.
It's 5:30 in the afternoon here. Do you grow up with antlers growing out of your head?
Oh my God, this is about my outfit. Well, no, this is especially for today, and I feel especially stupid wearing those, I have to say.
I don't think it has to
But
do with your outfit.
yeah, well, because I'm wearing those, I thought I thought I'd compensate by wearing a proper t-shirt, which you can't see, but let me make an effort. So I'm wearing the stupid antlers and the Die Hard t-shirt. So probably in the middle, the head, about here, I'm just about right. How about you?
I am wearing these Christmas glasses. They're actually giving me headaches. I've got Santa on the right, and the Christmas tree on the left. I do have a Christmas hat, but it has another use in a second, so I'll just keep it for now.
Ripples dance where the sunrise bleeds. Our journey flows where the river leads. Echoes of laughter fill the air. Chatterpot secrets everywhere.
So, Kat, it's only early in the morning here. It's Boxing Day. It's eerily quiet outside. I can't say I've been up too much. As I said, I just woke up. But you have been up for two-thirds of the day. What have you been up to?
Well, in the UK, everyone goes for a Boxing Day walk. I don't do that here. I do a Boxing Day paddle. I just went out paddling this morning. But, contrary to popular belief, I did not go out on a dragon boat. I went out on an OC6
Shock.
in the ocean, open ocean, where an OC6, an outrigger canoe, originally should belong to.
I mean, I'm so jealous. When you say all that, paddling on Boxing Day, that means the weather is just about acceptable. You were like 18 degrees, 20 degrees, going out
Yeah.
on the open ocean. Tell me everything. Make me jealous to the end.
So, how to make a Brit jealous? Let's talk about the weather. I went out at 10 a.m. So at that point, it was 18 degrees. So it's not too sunny, but just some clouds over the sky. So it's not just sun over your head. It's warm. The sea was quite calm today. So it was just had a lovely paddle. And it's not just our outrigger club that's out today. So they have a Christmas tradition every year. Boxing Day, I'm currently living on Llama Island, which is an outlying island in Hong Kong. So I'm surrounded by sea. So the Boxing Day tradition of a Llama Outrigger Club is they would do a paddle with the Llama Dragon Boat Club. So we did a little paddle together for 45 minutes, and then we just had a potluck party on the beach. And that's when the sun properly came out, and I had to wear sunglasses.
So let's rewind a little bit. You moved home, you moved to an island, and you joined an outrigger club all in the
Well,
last week or so?
yes. So this is actually my second paddle with them. My first paddle with them was last Saturday, which is exactly 1 week after I've moved to Llama Island. Well, priority's right? Paddling is more important than anything else. So because I wanted to do outrigger as a cross training to dragon boat. I'm not giving up dragon boat yet, guys. Or people might think like, thank God she's finally out. No. But yeah, I want to do outrigger as cross training, and it's great because I live on an island. I can access the boat anytime with an outrigger, and it works to my schedule. I can do it before work. I can do it on my days off during the week, and that's the flexibility that an OC1 or outrigging can offer. So that's why I dipped into outrigging.
I mean, that's one of the things I'm missing most about Singapore. And Hong Kong is not different. It's just so compact. You can get to anywhere within 30 minutes on a bus, on a metro, or whatever. And in your case, living on the island, I imagine the club, the Outrigger Club, is just a short walk down to the beach.
Yeah, I walked 15 minutes holding a tray of freshly baked bread on my hand. Walked 15 minutes to the beach and had warm bread, gold paddling, and that's it. That's the perfect start to your day.
Did you bake the bread?
Yes, I did. Why are you so shocked?
Why did you bake bread? You should bake some cake or something.
It's a funny story because I walked past a store and I saw a pack of flour that says Taste Award on it, and it's from Wessex. So I bought it. Patriarchy.
Okay, I knew there was a story behind it. But let's get back to the paddling. So, talk me through it. Outrigger, I've seen it in London Regatta Centre. I thought maybe one day I'll try it. And I came close to doing it one day when they put out a shout for volunteers or anyone interested in doing it. But for whatever reason, I didn't respond to that. So tell me about it.
So I think back in London, actually, you and I, we did a lot of OC1 together in the London Regatta
Yeah,
Centre.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But then it was flat water, and it's not a proper outrigger canoe that you see with the armor and stuff. It's more like, I
yeah.
think in the UK we have this special looking outrigger canoe. I don't even know where it came from.
Yeah, it's just a canoe basically adapted with two pieces of square aluminum to put the armor on, and it's literally held together with wing nuts.
Yeah.
It's very flimsy. It's nothing like the ones you see on YouTube with the proper armor, with the proper arms and solid.
Well, I guess we get crafty when you don't have that.
Absolutely, it does the job. It does the job.
Yeah, it does the job properly. So that was my first experience with outrigging. Never done it as a proper, a sport of its own. Always did it as a cross training to dragon boating, and mainly I did OC1 in the UK just because it was part of the time trial to get into Team GB. So that's why I did that. So last week was actually my first time hopping onto proper Waka ama.
Waka
Definitely not
waka, I
Waka
think it
Mama.
is. Not Wagamama, no.
But yeah, so it was my first time going into a proper outrigger canoe, and it's also my first time doing OC6, not OC1. So there's a lot of similarities actually. It's a paddle sport. You have to stay in time. The stroke is very, very similar because I think Dragon Boat adapted of our stroke styles from outrigging. So that's something, but that is almost just the only thing that's similar. It looks so similar. They look like brothers, but I would say they're more like cousins to Dragon Boat.
The paddle, though, is different. It's first of all, I think the surface is huge. It's sort of shaped like a spoon, and also it's a crankshaft as well, isn't it?
Yes, I wouldn't say it's huge actually. It's not as big as it looks, but it's like a spoon, and there's a bend in the paddle. So imagine our Dragon Boat paddle is completely straight, where the bit that connects the shaft and the blade on an outrigger canoe blade, it's there's a slight bend. So there's always a positive angle to that when
So
you
that's why
enter the
I see.
water. Yeah.
I see, I
So,
see.
but I would say it is very different in the sense that, first of all, something that we do not do on Dragon Boat is we have to swap sides during paddling. So the entire boat
Okay.
for our club, I'm not sure because I'm very, very new to the sport. I'm not sure for other clubs. For our club, every 14 stroke, we will have to swap side and paddle on the other side every 14 stroke. And you have to do it in synchrony, and you can't miss a stroke. But that is really fast. You don't have that extra second to stop just to change sides. So that is a challenge. And that is exactly what the coach and the captain told me when I first joined, saying I came from a dragon boating background. They're like, oh, you're going to struggle with swapping sides.
Do you know, when you mentioned the 14 stroke, I was naturally curious and I started Googling it to see if there's an answer. And you're right, there is no definitive answer, but I think 14 is probably anchored somewhere in tradition, maybe, because I found
Oh,
numerous references to 14. Don't ask me why, because I couldn't find an answer. I have no idea.
So you looked everywhere, and so it seems like everyone does 14 stroke and they swap sides, but you can't find the reason for it.
Yeah, I couldn't find anyone that does 8 strokes or 20 strokes. So
What else do you find?
I wanted to ask because it just occurred to me when we refer to the stabilizer on our O1s in London as AMA, just because this is what I read about it on the internet. And then you mentioned Waka AMA. There's a lot of terms that are from Hawaiian or an ancient language. Is that true?
So again, all we know usually would be the armor. It refers to the float that's on the side. That's commonly known. Actually, in London, I think when I started, we even referred to the float, not even the armor.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think there's two more words that I know, probably getting them wrong. So if whoever that's out there listening to this, you're a very seasoned outrigger paddler, I'm so sorry. But that's one thing, for example, first thing that I asked about because we're going to the open sea was, what if we capsize? What are we going to do? And the person answers, in case of a hoolie, we will blah, 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 blah. And I was like, a
Yeah.
hoolie? So they don't use the word capsize. They call it a hoolie when you just go over. One thing that's extremely different from Dragon Boat is the fact that we actually go to the open sea. I can actually show you the map of the route we took today. And as you can see, we started from the beach and then we went through certain bits. And there are points that we are actually in open sea. And this is from today, but this is the map from Saturday. Unfortunately, I didn't start my Strava early enough, so you only see bits of it. But we were actually out in the open sea, and you don't see anything next to you. There's no shore next to you. There's no buildings next to you. Nothing. You're just in the middle of the sea with yourself and your teammates.
You can't even see in the distance the shore.
I can see a mountain, like 3 mountainous peaks, all in front of me, but it's not a swimmable distance to the shore. Not with me or a regular layman that doesn't swim as a competitive sport. So part of it is really, really liberating. Paddling away under the sun, dark blue water, glistening from the sunshine. It's just beautiful with 3 mountains ahead of you. That's all you see. And you can't think about, it's because I think for outrigger, they tend to do longer distance racing. They don't do sprints. I'm sure they are sprint races, but not as common. So you don't have that adrenaline rush that makes you only focus on that race you have on your own boat. You actually have the time to admire the beauty around you and to actually, feel yourself in the environment. You can feel yourself in nature. And also part of it is like how small you are in nature.
It sounds amazing. And I think that is the one thing that would have me sold in a second. I would have done exactly the same as you, join the club and go out on the sea. As I said, there are some opportunities here in London or around London, but I mean, paddling an OC in a narrow canal or on the Thames is not exactly the same thing.
I bet if you're on the river, it's still nice to look at the scenery, but that's one thing that
you're looking
only
mostly
the
at the
open
posh
sea.
houses on the left and right.
Well, go past Putney.
Yeah, that's
Just
what I
keep
have in
paddling.
mind.
Go past Putney.
Yes.
Well, but there's also one thing that I don't think you can experience outrigging in the UK. It's the fact that when I'm on the open sea, waves. The waves that's hitting you, you get proper waves. And I remember you mentioned when you were in Malaysia, it was your first time paddling in a dragon boat on the open sea.
Yes.
It's not even open sea; it was on the sea. It's a strait that you were on, but you can already feel the waves, like currents that's moving under the boat and is pushing you. And this is one thing that I And when I was out rigging, it was really, really daunting, actually, apart from the liberating part where when it gets calmer, when you're in calmer bits of the sea, it's nice. But when you get to the part of the sea that is really wavy, it's... I'm so not used to it. I'm still not used to it after only having done it twice. But I'm really not used to it the first time. I really thought I was going to die because that wave literally keeps hitting the bow of the boat. You're not going anywhere. You feel like you're fighting it. And at one point, because I think I was so used to being on a dragon boat, and on a dragon boat, you don't really have to have much passive balance, I would say. Like, when you're on...
Yeah.
But when I'm on an outrigger, because it's... Well, apart from moving sideways, it's moving in all directions because of the waves. And I just almost toppled over. I almost fell into the water because the wave hit the boat. And I didn't know I have to passively balance myself.
Well, you should have listened to our episode. I gave you some good tips there. How to be flexible in the hips.
Yeah, that's true. One of my coach did say when the wave hits, the most important thing is actually to relax yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't be stiff. If you're stiff, you go with the boat. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but when you nod, you do it again. Nod. Well, that's really silly. But yeah, that's it. But that's scary. And I did ask him today, when we hit a big wave, what do we do? Or get to a really choppy part of the sea, what do we do? He says, just keep paddling like it's the same.
Because you made me curious after your first experience, I went on YouTube and look at some outrigging videos. And there are some really cool ones where they're really surfing the wave, because you just mentioned the big wave.
Yeah.
It's like a surfboard. That boat acts like a surfboard. It just glides on the crest of the wave.
Yes. So that's what the coach said. Actually, you can use the wave if you are experienced enough. You will learn how to use the wave. So it's not you fight it. I think my own experience in the open sea with a boat is actually when I was paddling in Venice, the Vogalonga, which is, we have to go around the Venetian islands, which we did get to parts that were quite wavy. It's not nearly as wavy, but it is wavy. But even in Hong Kong, when I paddle a dragon boat in the Stanley Bay, there are waves out there. But on a dragon boat, we've always been told when there's a wave, dig deeper, pull harder, instead of working with the wave. So that's something completely new to me.
It is different, yeah.
Yeah.
Working with the environment rather than battling it.
Yeah, I think there's a life lesson learned there as well.
Remind me, next time I come to Hong Kong, take me out in that OC, because I really want to see what it's all about. I mean, the landscape around Hong Kong and being out on the open sea, it's something that you don't get here in the UK. And yeah, let's make a note for next time I'm there.
Amazing. Pack signed.
Chatterbox secrets everywhere.
Right, should we do something special?
What surprise do you have for us today?
Has anyone seen this Santa hat? The reason why I couldn't put it on just now is because inside this hat, there are a few controversial opinions about dragon boating that I found on Reddit. And so I'll pull out random bits of controversial opinions from this hat, and Adrian will react to it.
Okay, let's give it a try. What could go wrong?
I mean, a lot, given that it's us. But... Right, let's give it a good shake up. I'll pull up. Oh, let's take this one. It's a very slim one. Let's see what it says. Okay. I'm not sure if I should say this person's username.
No, let's keep the names. Yeah. Let's keep the usernames out for now.
Yeah, that's a bit PG as well. So this person on Reddit says, stroking is easy. stroking as in pacing in English in the UK?
I don't think it's 100% correct. I think it's easier than being, say, in the engine room or at the back, because all you have to do at the front is focus on your pace, on the stroke, and make sure you set the right tone. But it's a huge responsibility, though, because if you get it wrong, the whole boat falls apart.
Yep.
If you go too slow, the whole boat stays with you, but you lose the race. So I would incline to say, no, it's not easy. I think it's actually quite hard.
Yeah, okay. I think I know where this person's coming from. The bit I agreed was stroking is easy as in you're not following anyone. You are not.
Yeah,
You don't have to put as much power as the engine room.
correct.
And then if you're in the backseat peddlers who are seasoned, because sometimes when you're new you get put in the back. So we don't compare an apple to an orange. But when you're seasoned peddler who's in the back, it's actually really difficult as well. Because it's very hard to find clean water to paddle in. So in that sense, it might seem like stroking is really easy, but I think the difficult thing about stroking or pacing, me being a pacer for many, many, many times, is the fact that it requires a mental toughness. Because you cannot stop, you cannot slow down, you have to keep the rate no matter how tired you are, no matter how heavy the boat feels. And also I think as a stroke, it is hard in the sense that because for example, it's very easy when someone calls for power up, there's a tendency that people put this rate up unconsciously, and it's really actually difficult to keep the rate steady and keep yourself together. So I think the hard bit about stroking is actually the mental toughness, not the technicality of itself. It's very controversial, these opinions, indeed.
Controversial. No, the easy part, just to add one other thing, the easy part I found when I'm pacing is I have this massive leg room and there's lots of space to lean forward, because if I lean forward from bench 2, 3, I inevitably bump into the person in front. When you're in the stroke position, you don't have that problem. So I know I can lean a lot more there.
I think it's only easy for you because in the front of the boat, on the first row, it's actually a little bit longer, that leg room. And for me, I need to put a block there because I can't.
You don't have a footrest.
I know, and I can't reach. So it's only easy for you. Right. Should we go on to the second opinion?
Let's go on. Yeah, I kind of like this game.
See, I told you this is fun. Let's go for a big piece. Okay, this is a slightly bigger piece.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna love this one.
Oh, come on.
We're talking about feet.
The suspense is killing me.
Both feet go in front of you on the floor ridge. Don't curl your inside foot under you.
Again, it depends on where you are in the race. It depends on how tired you are. It's a practical decision sometimes. I can do both. What I can't do, I tell you, I can't have my inside leg forward. For some reason, that doesn't work for me at all.
Oh, yeah,
But
I think...
I can have my outside leg right next to the side of the boat. I can have both feet forward. That works for me.
I think, yeah, for the inside leg forward, it impedes your rotation a little bit because it's just an odd position to rotate.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I think when people say both foot forward, it's an outrigging stroke because with outrigger, the rotation comes a lot from your hip rotating. And I've heard people say when you have both of them forward, it actually gives you more leg power because you're using two instead of one.
It is true. And I think the moment I realized I can work equally well with both positions was when I started going in O1 a lot more. In O1, inevitably, you have both feet resting on that footrest in front of you. So you learn how to move your knees, bend your knees in order to get that hip rotation, right? Which follows on to the torso rotation. And you learn how to apply power with both feet in order to get that leg drive. And when you apply that in a dragon boat, that's when the magic happens.
I don't know. I don't like having both feet in front of me. It just doesn't feel comfortable for me. I guess everyone's recovery is slightly different. My kind of recovery is I swing forward with a bit of momentum instead of, rotating my hips. So maybe that's why it didn't. I just don't. It's preference.
I think in the end, exactly. It's just personal preference. Yeah, whatever works for you.
Yeah, we're very liberal. This is not very controversial at the moment. Right, opinion number 3. I've got lots prepared, don't worry. Name of this user is called Over the Gunnel. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Over the Gunnel says...
That's not a good place to be.
No. You should train with a drummer or metronome of some sort.
Ooh, again, this, I think it's... you'll find 2 different schools of thought. If you remember, some people will tell you the drummer is there just for show, for competitions, for a parade or whatever. And the drummer does not dictate the pace of the boat. The drummer just looks at the person doing the pacing and follows them. Whereas the other school of thought is the drummer is an essential part of the team. Mm-hmm. They are there to read the bow waves. They are there to read the boat, to see when they slightly drop and call encouragement, see if there's anything left in the tank to up the pace a little bit. So, yeah. There you go.
Very controversial again.
2 different schools of thought. Controversial again.
Right. I think, okay, there's another thing. I agree what you said. Like, some people think drummers are just for show, but I think it depends on the level you're racing in. If you're racing on elite level, national team, you don't just get a random 15-year-old who's 35 kilos to drum just because of light. You actually have to find a good drummer. I agree they don't set the pace. They should be following the strokes. But at the same time, they should be able to read the entire environment, like the waves, and also how we're doing against other teams. If you see, for example, if we're neck to the other team, no one can see it apart from the drummer can see it clearly.
Yeah.
And it will be a great time when he or she can shout, or they.
Power 20.
Yeah, power 20, or like, give me more, or timing, things like that. And also, I think a good drummer, it's hard to find. It's not just it's not just someone who can who can hit the drum to the beat of the stroke. It's not as simple as that. So, for example, when I was drumming for a 3K race I think it was in Nottingham last year, because I know every single one on the team and I really care for them, and people know me personally, and I was sitting on that drumming seat and I saw there's this lady, she's only been paddling for 3 months, and for someone who's only paddled for 3 months, to do a long distance race is a completely different kind of game. Like, even the 200 was really difficult when you just started. And I can see she's about to give up. And I looked her in the eyes. I didn't say names. I just, I was like, I know you can do this. You can do this. Take me home. And she reacted to it. And I think that's something only a drummer can do.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You have the eyes on the entire boat.
And there's one other thing. I don't get it, because a drummer, for example, is 50 kilos and you have the drum in the seat, but we never train with it. We only put them on race days. So that boat is an extra 70 kilos heavier, at least.
I mean, it depends, because certain crews train with the coach sitting in the drummer's seat, right? So they have a full boat, including helm, and the coach sits literally in the drummer's seat. So then they have the full numbers, the full weight of the boat. I think it depends on the numbers as well, because when you are a small club and you only have 16 people turning up for training on a Saturday, what are you going to do? You can't just go around and ask people, would you like to be some extra dead weight on our boat. So yes, it depends on the club very much.
Okay, next opinion.
Next opinion.
This is fun.
Bring them on.
This is like a lucky
It is
draw.
good, yeah. We could do this all day.
Yeah. Oh, this is very controversial. Dragon boats.
Come on.
Okay, Reddit user, when it's plural, you use R. So anyway, dragon boats is more of a sprint sport than an endurance use sport. Paddling long distance constantly in OC impedes your performance.
That was actually chosen for you and your newly found passion for OC.
I mean, I see where this is coming from, but I wouldn't say it impedes your performance. It's you need to know how to use every tool you have. So I wanting to do cross training with OC is one of those things. You can be the best paddler with the best technique. You can have the best power, but when you cannot last for that 2 minutes on the water, there's no point because you cannot put the power to use. So one of the very most important things is you will need to be able to last through that race. You can have very good cardio fitness. I go cycling all the time. I run, but at the same time, your cardio fitness is sport. Cardio fitness is somehow sport specific.
Yeah.
So I still run, but then cross training and longer distance on an OC, it helps with my paddle specific endurance. And when I have the endurance, I will be able to not think about, oh, I'm catching my breath, my shoulder's burning, I'm dying on this boat. I don't have to think about that. All I need to think about is how to put more power in. Is my stroke being perfect? Am I in time? Instead of that is out of the window. I can have more headspace for other things that matters as well. So I think that's important in that sense. But I do agree in the sense that if you cannot translate OC directly to dragon boat, you cannot translate the tactics to endurance sport to a sprint sport. It's the same as in you cannot ask a marathon runner to run a 100-meter sprint. They're not going to win because it's a different sport.
Yeah.
So give or take.
Yeah. I mean, what I can resonate with is the sprint part. As I said many times, I prefer the sprints. I prefer the shorter races, 200 meters. Just give it all in 50 seconds and you're done. Explosive power. But no, you need all the other elements in order to deliver efficiently in those 200 meters. So, yeah.
Yep. Interesting opinion. This is very thought-provoking. Right. Next Santa's question. This is a short one. Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
I was hoping for a yes or no answer.
Yep. It can be a yes or no. Just give me a yes or no after I said this. Stroke rate is overrated.
No.
No. Okay, expand on that.
Okay, stroke rate is overrated. I mean, it's a very short statement, so I kind of had to think a little bit. Where's he driving at? As in, so I came up with this: higher stroke rate is not important. Slower stroke rate could be just as efficient, and it's true. I mean, we discussed this a few times before.
I think we've had this
What's your
discussion.
take on this?
Yeah, we've talked about this we've touched on this briefly with Gary.
With Gary, yeah.
And some other coaches from other countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next episode to find out.
Coming up, yeah.
So I think what it means by overrated is we always thought the faster, fitting another stroke, up the stroke rate is the way to win. It's like by the end of a race when you want to really, when you're neck to neck with another boat, you really want to win that race to just pull away. The call is always up the rate. So I think what this person's trying to say is I'm trying to read was his mind. Is
Yeah,
that
difficult, isn't it?
I know it's very hard. Is trying to say it's not just stroke rate. We should not only just be focusing on stroke rate. So exactly what you said. It's the stroke efficiency, the power, and it will get to a point that when your stroke rate is so high, you won't be able to put as much power in, and at the same time, there is also a rate that will be too slow. You can do a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the rate, it's also about the efficiency and also what kind of stroke rate slash length slash power combination works for your team. So it's not just rate.
Yeah.
There's a combination of factors.
I think this possibly comes from the fact that you only have three parameters you can play with. So the stroke rate, the length, the power. Now, you'd have to imagine if you're in the race, paddlers would be putting in 100% power. No one's going to go 80% in a race because you want to win. You want to be in front. Length, are they losing concentration and starting shortening? That happens in the races,
especially when the
they're
rate
tired.
goes up. Yeah.
And when the rate goes up. So then it becomes a combination. So it's not one thing that's the most important, but it's a combination of all of that.
And you have to find that silver bullet.
Yes, that silver bullet, that sweet spot, name it what you like.
Exactly. Right. Are you ready for the next one?
More, yes, come
You
on.
are so excited. This is exactly Boxing
I'm
Day.
enjoying this now.
Unboxing your
Yes.
Christmas presents.
Unboxing the presents.
This is
yes.
also a very short one. Okay, fat fingers. Give me a second. Oh. People should learn to paddle both sides.
Yeah. That was a yes or no answer. Yes.
Expand on that. You can't just say yes.
So I was firmly on the right side before. And as you know, I've recently been put on the spot and in the left, just go there and paddle. I think I will put in a specific section of my training to developing my flexibility on the other side so I could be a equally good paddler on the left as I am on the right. I mean, for a number of reasons. First of all, in terms of development, yes, you're not going to develop your right side more than the left side if you go to the gym as well. But in terms of flexibility on the boat, if you go to a race away and you can't, you're missing a paddler on the left, it's good then to have a number of people who can paddle both sides. And then you can rearrange the boat in a way that doesn't compromise the balance and you don't lose power and efficiency as well, because they are equally good on the left as they are on the right.
I agree because, okay, I would look at this in two perspectives, a personal level and a club level, because it's the ultimate team sport. You win and lose as a team. So personal level, one thing I noticed with me only, I'm a lefty, and with myself, been doing left only almost for the past 3 years I've been paddling, is when I go to the gym, for example, when I'm going for a pull-up, my right back is a lot stronger than my left back because with paddling, I develop a lot more power on. Well, it's a lot more training that side of the muscles is going through.
Yeah,
no matter, even if I try to balance it out in the gym, of course it helps. But because the amount of training that side of the body is going through, inevitably there will be a muscle imbalance. And I think in the long run with muscle imbalance like that, when it continues to exacerbate, you're more prone to injury. And also, and then after I've started paddling on the right, well, that's one good thing as well is I noticed when I started paddling on my right, my left back gotten stronger, and it actually helps with other performances as well. For example, when I do a pull-up, it's not all coming from my right side anymore. My left side's finally able to help me.
Doing some work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh, you've woken up. So that really, like, no matter how much I've tried to train in the gym, I'm using the same weights on both sides. Still, because it's not getting as much training on the one side than the other, then
Yeah.
there will forever be that imbalance, and it's not helpful. And
Yes.
also, on a club level, like you said, on days that we don't have enough righties or lefties, it'd be great if someone can substitute, or even just for boat balance. And I've heard clubs that do you do a long distance on, for example, after you've raced 200 meters, 500 meters on the left, go to your right to do a 2K.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Never thought
Yeah,
of that. Yeah.
I think that can maximize your winning chances. And also,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
one thing that we said is we have better techniques on our offside.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So that's a win-win.
God
Yeah.
knows, maybe one day we'll get really strong. I'll become a righty, you'll become a lefty. God
Yeah.
knows. Right. I think we
Right.
so far
Do you
agree
have
on
any more?
everything. Of course I do.
Yeah.
I have a few more.
Oh,
I have
okay.
3 more actually.
Oh, okay. We can go through those
Yeah. You
easily.
enjoy this, Rudolph.
I love it. I love it. I was afraid at the beginning, but now I love it.
Right, okay. Oh, this is very, very controversial. And I don't know what you think of this
I've heard that
actually.
before. Okay.
Because when I picked all those opinions, I kind of know what your take is going to be. I know you too well.
Of course you know me. Yes.
Exactly. Okay, this opinion is cool. It says, being a good steer, as a slash helm, we call it in the UK, is harder than it looks and can make the difference between winning or losing.
Absolutely. I will say that without any hesitation. There's so many tricks. I don't steer. I volunteered once to have
Oh,
some
how did it
lessons.
feel when you volunteered?
No, there was too many people volunteering at the same time, including up 2 or 3 ladies, and I said, "Look, ladies first. They go first." And so I never got to my turn. Come to think about it, there's plenty of time in the new season or later. But let me tell you what I've noticed from the steers. So first of all, in Penang, when it was about steering on the sea and reading the waves and seeing what the boat is doing when it hits a wave, because it's a big beast, you hit a wave sideways and the boat goes sideways and you have to be immediately correcting. Also, something I've heard in the races, when they are on the straight line, in order to maximize speed, if you see the boat is not going left or right because it's perfectly balanced power-wise, left and right, you don't need to have that oar in the water.
That's when you
Just
don't
lift
need
it
the
out.
helm. Just go away. Dead weight.
Yeah, yeah. And you reduce a little bit of drag, you earn that fraction of a second,
And that's how
which
you
in a
win.
high-level competition, exactly.
Yep,
Remember when you
exactly.
talked about the big competition that Gary was mentioning, all 6 teams separated by fractions of a second within 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, and this is exactly what this user
That's where the
said.
little
It
game
can
makes a
make the
difference.
difference between
Yeah,
winning and losing.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, okay, I don't know who ever said that helming looks easy, because I never thought it's easy. I can't even drive a car
No.
properly, let alone a dragon boat. Um, and that is true what you said about the short distance straight line races. Personal experience, a good helm and a less experienced helm, I can really feel the difference. There's more drag in the water and it's not as smooth.
Yeah.
It can slow the boat down by fractions of a second. And then again, in elite races, it really it's the make or break. However, I think long distance races it's not a test to paddlers. It's a test to the helm. So one
Yeah.
really, really, really epic race I've had, and this is a shout out to my old crew in London, Raging Dragons. Okay, no, it's this side, Raging Dragons. Our coach Victor, he's an incredible helm. I've never seen a helm like him myself. Of course, I'm not experienced enough to have seen all the helms, but he's one of the best helms I've ever seen. We were in Nottingham 2K. Our club at that point was during the rebuild. We have a lot of new recruits. So we were not the strongest of paddlers, let's put it that way. I was drumming And when he turned, I really had to actively brace my core, otherwise I would have fallen into the water. And it was that turn, it was so tight. We were ahead of this boat. The other boat caught up, and then we started to fall behind. And then that turn, we gained another boat length ahead of them because of the turn. And I think recently, if you look at this video, Soaring Dragons and Raging Dragons, they had this in the recent race in London, not in London, but like a recent race. I think it was in Henley Winter Series. They have this really epic turn as well. And that really shows in races like this long distance, the helm is the make or break of a race.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that.
Right. Okay, we have 2 more. Are you excited?
2 more, yes. Come on, you saved the best for the last, or
I don't know. It's a draw. I don't know.
It's a draw.
I literally picked it. I quite literally picked it out of a hat.
Yes.
Okay. Second to last. Oh. Okay, the opinion says you can't have a successful dragon boat career without a messed up shoulder.
Yep.
You agree?
I agree with that. Yeah,
Do you
I
have
agree
a
with
messed up
that.
shoulder yet?
I have a messed up shoulder.
Do you
yeah.
actually?
I'm struggling with my right shoulder. Yeah, I don't know where it came
But
from
you're a
because it
righty.
happened right
So
at
it's
the
not
end
your
of the
top
season.
arm. It's your
I
outside
know,
arm.
I know, I know. I can't explain it. So I'm happy I'm now in a sort of a break before I hit full-time training in the new year. Hopefully, I'm doing some exercises and hopefully I will be back to full fitness by the time I hit the gym.
I agree that dragon boaters are very prone to shoulder injuries, but I do not agree to the statement. Ooh, the first time we disagree.
Oh, okay.
I disagree with the statement that you cannot have a successful career without a messed up shoulder. So, knock on wood, my shoulders are all good. And I think there are a few things. First of all, there's so many prehab, like, because people always do rehab after they get injured. But I think a lot in the sporting community now, they focus on prehab, prevention. So a lot of prehab exercises, strengthening exercises, especially for your rotator cuffs. And I think Kat, our trainer, Kat Stace, she has some videos on that as well, about prehab. And so I've been doing those, and so far so good. So I don't know. I wouldn't say my dragon boat career is successful, but I'm decent paddler and my shoulders are still fine. And I think another thing about shoulder injury is the stroke style. So this is what I heard when I was paddling in the UK. One of the UK coaches, not going to name who because I don't want to, did say, for example, in Asia, they do almost like a straight arm stroke. So you have your shoulder really hiked up, always tense. And I think in Canada, they do a C stroke like that, still hiked up shoulders. I'm not entirely sure. But in the UK, we do a D frame. Most clubs, we do a very outrigging frame. So you have a shoulder that's actually low. It's with your top arm just about forehead level and your shoulder's actually around shoulder height. You're not hiking it up. And I think that coach specifically, he said, yes, the C stroke or the Asian A frame, the very traditional A frame, is great. You've seen so many success with it. But then because of how the shoulder's hiked up, it makes you so prone to shoulder injury. So, I don't know. Do you have to use those strokes? Perhaps not.
No, I think no, exactly. I think in the end it's a practical decision. So when I went for a training camp with Senior B, the indication, the coaching direction from the coach was, hey, you just use whatever's comfortable for you. I wouldn't recommend that A stroke because it's not going to give you a massive advantage, but it's going to put your shoulders at risk. And of course, bear in mind the senior B, you have people over 50, so they would naturally carry a lot of injuries or
Yeah.
wear and tear
More
in the shoulders.
prone.
So exactly, comfort then becomes paramount, and just make sure you can sustain that paddling and continue your
Yeah.
paddling career into your old age.
It's one of those things because yes, you might win that one race, but that might be your last race. Give it
Yeah.
again, you have to give or take. First time we
Yeah,
disagreed.
be sensible.
Exactly. Okay, first time we disagreed, and there's one last chance you can disagree with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna pretend that I like picked something out because there's only one piece of paper in there.
Okay.
Oh, okay. OC training, brackets, and testing only partly transfers to Dragon Boat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm just pulling 50-50 because I've never done OC apart from OC O1.
But even on your
I, I,
experience on O1, do you think it
I
transfer
suppose
100%?
not 100%. It's
Mm,
a different stroke. You can practice a lot of things that you need to do in a dragon boat, but not all of them.
yes.
Or you can run into all sorts of trouble.
I think that's with it's again with an OC. It's important to do OC1, especially cross training. I think, if you want to get better at dragon boat or to know your strokes better, is for example, like you said, there's certain things you only discover when you're an OC. When you're on a dragon boat, for example, you will always think, "Oh yeah, the boat's moving. I'm putting power in it." Until you sit on an OC, that
Yeah,
boat is not moving. It's going in
yeah,
circles. You know, like,
yeah,
geez, I haven't really been helping to move the boat. That's when you have
yeah,
that
yeah,
realization. That's when you really know where you're. Again, it helps a lot with your cardio fitness, your paddle endurance, and OC. It really helps, and it gives you that convenience of you have the flexibility to go out when there's only, for example, two of you. Because in the UK, the
yeah.
BDA does say if you go out in an OC, it has to be in pairs at least.
In terms of fitness and preparing you for racing, for a long race in particular, it's not the same when you go in a dragon boat with the whole crew for 12 kilometers or going in an O1 for 12 kilometers. It's a completely different ball game.
Yes, it is. But however, I think there's one thing that doesn't translate. The leg drive is completely different on an OC. You can't
Yes.
you can't hinge as much on an OC, and there are things that you can only train on a dragon boat. On the OC, it's just yourself. Okay, OC6 may be different, but let's say OC1 like most people do. And an OC1, you only train on your own, and there are things that you can only do on the boat. It's timing, synchronicity. That only exists on a dragon boat. And you can be the best OC paddler, but when you're out of time on a dragon boat, I'm so sorry. Like, you are slowing the boat down. You can be the best OC paddler, that slows the boat down, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a real story that was told to us. I'm not going to repeat it here, you know it,
Yes.
about the person who was exactly like you mentioned.
Yeah, so it only but again, I'm sure like it helps with your dragon boating if it's used correctly. If it's not used correctly, hmm, again, it's not like a direct translation. But oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah. And
statement did also say OC testing.
yeah, I know what I think I was going to mention just now because for us, OC or O1, what they call it here in the UK, is a necessary evil. It's part of the selection. It's part of the process that determines the final lineup of the boat when you go to an international.
Yeah.
So you have to get good at it.
Yes. I think there are when I was in the UK, there are people who said they don't think trialing or testing a dragon boater on an OC is fair, given how different it actually is. It's a different sport at the end of the day. Otherwise, why don't you just have OC like races as mini dragon boat races, right? If it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They did say it, and also I think being a smaller watercraft, lighter watercraft, it does favor lighter paddlers. But on a dragon boat, it might be slightly different. It doesn't have to be, it's not necessarily the lighter the better. That's something we found, nerd alert, on Reddit as well, about weight to power to weight ratio.
Power to weight ratio, yes.
Yeah. There are arguments saying on an OC it really favors lighter paddlers, and it's not a real reflection of someone's ability to push the boat forward on a dragon boat, because it's just a different watercraft. I have heard about arguments like that, but I do agree that it is the closest you can get to it's the closest watercraft you can get in testing individual paddlers' ability. And
yeah,
I mean, of course, you can do a testing on a paddle erg, but moving an erg is not exactly like moving a watercraft.
Yeah.
So there's no perfect way, unless someone built a one-person dragon boat. Right. So I think that's it. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. It's all done.
I had so much fun. It was great.
If you have any episode suggestions, or if you want to submit your video to Paddle Clinic, we do have a post on Instagram that explains how the Paddle Clinic works. So if you want someone to look at your strokes and give you some opinions on it, please drop us a message, an email, or whatever works for you. Otherwise, here's our Instagram and YouTube channel. So don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
And with that, I'm going to say, Kath, Happy New Year and happy paddling, everyone.
Happy New Year, Adrian, and I hope everyone have a great year ahead.
Come on. Yes.
Oh, I can't do it.
You're too close.
Don't worry, I give up. Bye. See you next year.
Ripples dance where the sunrise bleeds. Our journey flows where the river leads. Echoes of laughter fill the air. Chatterbox secrets everywhere.